From the Daily Beast, opinion, what we are seeing on college campuses is truly disturbing. And yes, it is disturbing. You could also make the argument that almost everything the Daily Beast does is an opinion. I suppose they report true stories every once in a blue moon, but my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
The algorithm is a monster, so help me out. If you want to help me out even a little bit more and spend some money, go ahead and buy my book, New York City 2020 Gotham Unglued. That link will be in the description. So, to their point, yes, it is truly disturbing, but we are obviously not going to see eye to eye on this. They say protests at dozens of college campuses across the U.S. against the war in Gaza have escalated dramatically in recent weeks, evoking memories of Vietnam War-era unrest and civil rights. Well, first of all, this guise that it's about Palestine, Gaza, Israel, that ship sailed, right? Nobody believes that anymore. We have a little bit of proof that quite clearly it's not about that. And it's very, this is like Vietnam War. Okay, whatever. That was before my time. But more recently, it's exactly like Fentanyl Floyd and the downtown New York City riots. They destroyed everything. And even late last year in November 2023, protesters blocked up the Bay Bridge. That was the first time I think they blocked up the Bay Bridge in almost 20 years or whatever. And then they came out and said, well, you should drop the charges. These people are just absolute thugs and bullies. It goes on. But what has made the new abnormal co-host Danielle Moody, and she is absolutely unhinged. I got some of her content pulled up as well. But honestly disturbed this week is seeing the militarized police and the presence and the administrators' decisions to violently arrest students, lock them out their dorms, lock them out of dining halls.
I was murdered.
You were murdered. Okay, you obviously weren't murdered because you're alive and you're basically intact. You weren't murdered, buddy.
Okay, well, what did you want? You literally just wanted to run roughshod over everybody and have no consequences. You got as far as you humanly could, right? We remember when the Cass review comes out and debunks all the weirdo LGBTQ stuff, and it didn't even need to get to that point. It's very similar here. It's like, you just want it your way, and you can't have it. You won. You should take the victory, because in a sane world, this wouldn't have even happened. They would have put the kibosh on this in the first day, but they allow you to run roughshod for weeks, and then you cry about violently arresting protesters. Well, no. And the spotlight was on you, right? When you guys blocked up the Bay Bridge, when you blocked up airports across the country, the spotlight was on you. You could have said, this is what we want, X, Y, and Z, but you didn't. It's just in the wind, bro. It's vague, like Palestine, man, divest, whatever. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so you had it, you got what you wanted, you got the attention, and you did nothing. We've all seen the videos of the stupid college girls. Oh, why are we protesting? I don't know, I just came here.
What's the main goal with tonight's protest?
I think the goal is just showing our support for Palestine and demanding that NYU stops. I honestly don't know all of what NYU's doing.
Is there something that NYU's doing?
I really don't know. I'm pretty sure they're... Do you know what NYU's doing?
About what?
About Israel. Why are we protesting here?
Palestine will be free!
I wish I was more educated.
I'm not either.
Oh.
I came from Columbia. I was there up at Columbia, and we came down. They said NYU students needed our support, so I came down. I heard there's lots of cops. Some people were saying it was getting dangerous.
They don't know, they have no idea what it is they're doing, so you lost your opportunity. The idea that you don't get to ask questions about where your money is going, that is going to put you surely in debt, is wild to me. Lady, what does that have to do with anything? Do you think, first of all, I thought this was about Gaza. Okay, so you're saying that you're paying tuition, or your parents are paying tuition, and your money is going to fund Israel. Fine, but you want me to believe that the students are angry, they just want to know where their money's going? Bro, they are in there wreaking havoc, destroying buildings, and then claim, saying, well, you guys, you should bring us food.
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately, in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries, we want to take over this building. Now would you please bring us food and water? And
nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
We need what? Bro, this is beyond parody. So your whole excuse, your argument that, well, they don't know where their money's going. Okay, well, just write an email. Write a strongly worded email. You don't destroy campuses. You don't blockade yourself into buildings. And I'm going to be almost certain that nobody asked, where's our money going? You had the chance and you didn't do it because it's about nothing.
It's about nothing.
No story?
No, forget the story.
You gotta have a story.
Who says you gotta have a story?
It's clearly a communist takeover. I mean, this looks very similar. Again, they claim it's like Vietnam, but we just saw this. It's quite clearly election year shenanigans. And I guess even me, I was naive. I was kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt for a little bit, right? Because I don't want to take any sides, but it's quite obviously not about Palestine. It's not about Israel. It's not about any of that. It is about, and who is giving these marching orders, right? Where is this stuff coming from? Okay, so it's, and we'll see, there's weirdo communist graffiti, which I also saw in New York during the Fentanyl Floyd campout. And of course, oh, well, yeah, I guess we're protesting for justice of a dope fiend, but also we're going to litter the streets with communist graffiti. Okay, bro, it just doesn't make any sense. And I was trying to let this fly under the radar. You guys blocked up all your traffic. I was ignoring because all you wanted is attention. And now you got it. And you had plenty of opportunities to tell people what the message was, and you didn't do it. You scurried away, and you blocked off the cameras, and you admitted you didn't know what you were protesting for, so we're done with it. And now you want to play the victim? It just gets no more bizarre than this. And like I said, the Daily Beast is on an absolute tear. They just wrote an article recently about that weirdo old lady, 80 years old, with purple hair, telling us that we need to send more money to Ukraine. It's just wild. I am going to wake up from this bad dream very shortly. The idea that you don't get to ask questions about where your money is going, it's going to put you in debt, is wild to me, which of course has nothing to do with these protests. College campuses and universities have always been at the center of different movements. People have a right to protest, and once we begin picking away at that, we're picking away at our own freedom. We have a right to protest, and you shouldn't stop that. I'm fairly familiar with that. I've said it 100 million times, protesting the lockdown only 3 weeks before the world knew George Floyd, right? That was illegal. But less than a month later, oh, well, racial justice is more important, right? You had the bigwigs, the science weirdos come out and say, oh, well, racial justice is more important than Rona. I mean, how is anybody still believing this, right? College was supposed to be for smart people, but now it's just brainwashed weirdos that I sort of agree with her. You shouldn't be spending money on this at all. But the idea that they're just asking where their money is going is so far off base. I mean, it's patently evil. And here is this Moody lady, right? So the woman that works for the Daily Beast, what's her name? Danielle Moody. This is her collaboration with several weirdo communists. And this is what's going on in their head. Where was this energy during Columbine, Parkland, or Uvalde? What? How could that possibly be? You want to try to compare a rogue school, bad guy to going into a college campus which I believe all those other places, they're younger kids, right? They're high schools. And you want to compare that to police going in to take out students. No, they weren't even students. There's an article, I don't know if I have that pulled up, but they admit that most of them weren't even students. So how on earth can you compare a rogue gunman to police going into NYU and removing the weirdo homeless communist freaks who don't even go to the school? If any kid is hurt tonight, responsibility will fall on the mayor and university presidents. Other leaders in schools have found safe, de-escalatory paths. The opposite of leadership. And this woman's absolutely crazy. Of course, I urge the mayor to reverse course. So yeah, just let us do what we want. That's all they're saying. Just let us do what we want. It doesn't make any sense, but we're going to do it anyways. So we see this time and time again. It's the same thing with the cops. No matter how bad it gets, just blame police misconduct. If any kid broke into a building, barricaded himself in, basically took hostages, but if anybody gets hurt, then that's the fault of the police and the university professor. Okay, I guess, kinda. They should have nipped it in the bud at the very beginning. Happening now, our campus has been invaded by NYPD. And this is actually my favorite one because they use the word invasion. So some cops going in there to stop you from setting up shop and getting, stopping the Uber delivery drivers who are probably on illegal scooters, Venezuelans on illegal scooters bringing you DoorDash. They are invading. But when we want to talk about the southern border, the word invasion is just a bridge too far. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. Press not allowed in. Yeah, all is okay in America. Hundreds of police staging around Columbia as protesters are held back from the campus at 113th. Press not allowed. Oh, well, you guys don't want to talk to them anyways, right? I mean, we've seen dozens of clips of them. No, I don't want to talk to you. So you're protesting, which should, in theory, mean you want to get a message out, but you don't want to say what the message is? Okay. Again, the easiest way to stop these terrifying college protesters is to urge an end to Israel's war, a ceasefire, and return of hostages. So just, again, do what we want. So AOC says, they all just say, do what we want, or it's not going to stop. And it's like, dude, you guys had it, right? You had, all the eyeballs were on you. The college professors were letting you do whatever the hell you want. You were running roughshod. You were, I wouldn't even say anti-Semitic because, again, they don't know what's going on. They just know that we're occupying here. We're the weirdo commies, and it's our way or the highway. So yeah, just do what we say, and that'll stop it. You haven't offered a solution at all. Police sure do mobilize and respond aggressively when there's armed MAGA supporters taking over the... Is this true? Bro, Wajahat, I don't know if he works for CNN or something, but police sure do mobilize and respond aggressively when there's armed MAGA supporters taking over the U.S. Capitol or armed Nazis chanting anti-Semitic slogans. Oh, wait, my bad. Sorry, that didn't happen. It's for students protesting Israel's war. Oh, that's funny, bro. What? Are these people really that diluted? And I guess this guy probably gets paid to push this propaganda, but who is really buying this, okay? It's like the police response to Ferguson and George Floyd didn't matter. I pray that no one is hurt tonight. Yeah, but you guys are the ones, committing these atrocities. NYPD sergeant is staging outside with insanely heavy presidents. They're shutting down all roads outside of Columbia. No media is allowed inside to document the likely police abuses that were... So you just made it up. Oh, the media can't come in. Probably because you guys are going to do something bad. As if you guys haven't been doing awful things for at least the past 2 weeks. I mean, you had the opportunity. You shut down freeways. You shut down airports. You shut down colleges. There was news cameras all over the place. Light, camera, action, go. Tell us what you want, but they won't. They scurry away after destroying everything. These people are despicable. And this is a good one. Proof of the structural brain rot, resistance comes in many forms. USC professor cancels final project, tells students, F it, free Palestine. Now this is the meaning of fight on. So if you send kids to these colleges, this is what you're getting, right? I mean, I have to assume this woman's barely 30 years old. So she's only a couple years out of college, and she has been beat into submission by the generation before her. And it makes no sense. Oh, well, this is like Vietnam. No, it's not. It's quite literally a weirdo communist takeover that you have cloaked as a righteous cause of Palestine. The exact same thing with BLM. And of course, it's once again in an election year. And then here, this is actually my favorite one. We believe that while the group who broke into the building includes students, it is led by individuals who are not affiliated with the university. So the people in there are likely homeless, junkie, communist, revolutionaries, or whatever. And most of them aren't even students. This doesn't make any sense. And it goes a little bit further. This lady is insane. So this is the woman who wrote the opinion piece for the Daily Beast, and she's got a podcast or whatever. And here, this is her. She's going to be completely, I mean, she uses the hashtag WokeAF. I guess it's supposed to be sort of a play on words, or like funny or punny or whatever. But she's going to absolutely lose it in this reel.
Someone explain to me what the right way to protest is. Because when Martin Luther King tried nonviolence marches and sit-ins, he was beaten and jailed and later assassinated. When freedom riders...
Okay, so there's been no protests since Martin Luther King. What does Martin Luther King have to do with a whole bunch of people who aren't even students taking over a college? Is that how pathetic and desperate you guys are?
Came down to the South, right, for integration. They were beaten and their buses were set on fire. Black people trying to get an education in this country had school buildings burned down and whole towns burned down, and massacres take place across this country. So I'm confused about what the right way to protest is.
Yeah, I'm confused too. I mean, it's in the Constitution, right? We all remember the clip, little Fredo Cuomo and the guy with the uncooked ramen noodles.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. And please.
The First Amendment, you just gotta look it up, Mr. Cuomo.
Yeah, you do it peacefully. You don't break windows. You don't sit in for days and weeks, right? You maybe do it for a day or so, have your voice heard. There's cameras everywhere. You had a chance to make your point and you didn't do it.
You don't want bridges shut down. You don't want streets shut down. What you want is for people to shut up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, right? You could have made the point, but you didn't do it. So no, we don't want bridges shut down. We don't want streets shut down. We don't want any of that. You are exactly right, actually. We want you to shut up. And if you had a point to be made, you would make it.
And that is what this younger generation is refusing to do. There is no right way. But what we do know is that there has not been a student liberation movement that has been on the wrong side of history. Only the powers that be. Wake the fuck up.
Yeah, and then she drops an F-bomb because that makes her super cool. I mean, I guess these people are really that deluded, right? Every single day of my life, I go back and forth, whether it is pure evil or incompetence and stupid. But I think you have a woman like this, and it's just genuinely stupid. I'm not quite sure. And here's the article. What we are seeing on college campuses is truly disturbing. And yes, that's true. The recent escalation of pro-Palestine protests on campus. It's also funny, too, how some people say pro-Palestine, some people say anti-Israel, but it's just a weird communist takeover, and it doesn't even matter. Could have been anything, right? The pro-Palestine protests on college campuses have caused some unexpected outcomes, according to the new abnormal co-host, Danielle Moody. And that's who we just saw. So that's how this woman is able to have a job and I guess make money, is just by spewing absolute nonsense. Protests at dozens of college campuses across the U.S. against the war in Gaza have escalated dramatically in recent weeks, evoking memories of the Vietnam era and the civil rights movement. Yeah, I mean, why do you have to go back that far, right? I mean, it evokes memories of 3 years ago. What are you talking about? But what has made the new abnormal co-host Danielle Moody honestly disturbed this week is seeing the militarized police and basically saying, I am disturbed that the police would try to stop this. What you want the police to show up with stuffed animals and blankets? What are you talking about? So you say, well, what's the right way to protest? Okay, well, what's the right way to stop it? Right? I mean, it goes both ways. This doesn't make any sense. They're to violently arrest students.
You were murdered. Okay, you obviously weren't murdered because you're alive and you're basically intact. You weren't murdered, buddy.
So what happened? What happened? Can we see that footage when you got violently arrested? As if you didn't even deserve it? It's ridiculous. Oh, lock them out of dining halls. Bro, these people just make stuff up. Columbia University students, for example, were given a 2 p.m. deadline Monday to deconstruct a Gaza solidarity encampment or face the consequence by 5 p.m. Columbia had began suspending protesters, meaning they won't be allowed to graduate or even return to university. Yeah, because you guys have destroyed. I mean, people pay thousands of dollars each year, and you guys feel like it is your place to do whatever it is you want. And then you realize, at least some people are reporting, that a lot of those people don't even go to the school. The idea that you don't get to ask questions about where, yeah, okay, we read that in the Instagram post, but you really want me to, so you are under the assumption that this is about Gaza and Israel. And then you're also under the assumption that it's about finding out where your money's going. And it's just not. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just a tiny little article. They put basically the whole thing in that Instagram post. But here's the last little bit, okay? From PragerU or Cam Higby, I guess, pretty much proof that it's not hard to figure out this is not what they sold you, right? You can see with anything, whether it's Transformers, whether it's Rona, whether it's the climate hoax, all of these protests, it is all working towards one goal of a complete communist takeover. So this guy, Cam Higby, I was inside the massive UCLA encampment clear across the country, but we know by now that New York and, well, I would say San Francisco, but California at large, they operate from the exact same corruption playbook that may or may not have been written and controlled by Uncle George and son Alex, but that's a different story. There is communist symbolism everywhere, absolutely. And I saw this in New York when Saint Fentanyl died, right? Communist revolution and our land back, all this stuff. Calls for intifada. First and second intifadas. I don't even know what that means, bro. Whatever. It's just the weirdo communist propaganda. Queers for Palestine and Gaza, despite the fact that Gaza, Hamas, the government. Okay, yeah, we've heard this over and over again, but that's obviously not convincing anybody, right? Sometimes you got to learn the hard way. Yeah, but, Alex Stein. And look, shout out to Alex Stein. I mean, obviously it makes sense, but you can't speak rational to irrational people. It just doesn't work. I'm sure you've already noticed the anarchy symbolism if you made it this far, but there's also everywhere calling for riots. Absolutely. This is a tent that will soon become a gender-neutral bathroom. I wonder what they'll do with all the waste. Oh, please remember this is happening on the campus of a public university. Yeah, so that's it, right? So these people, these are the same people that, press is not let in. But then when somebody who there is no friendly press, right? These people wouldn't like CNN. These people wouldn't like MSNBC. So there is no friendly press. The only thing that they are trying to do is confuse and lie to everybody